So I'm going to continue doing the C++ thing. And I saw on the site that I already did around 60%, I think, of the whole course. So I might be able to finish it today. And if that's the case, I think my plan is gonna be to finish this course, then go on Kaggle again and do the SQL basic course again. But this time I will go a lot slower and pay more attention. And then I will do the SQL advanced because I think I'm probably gonna need it at some point when doing API stuff and yeah, putting information on databases instead of pandas data frames, which I'm currently doing. And then after I do that, then I'm not really sure, but I think I might either study the compiler stuff or go right into C++ again and try to build a library of artificial intelligence, which, yeah, I think is going to be the hardest thing that I've done so far. Definitely the hardest thing. And I'm not really sure if I will have to stop in the middle of it to search for resources or learn more about C++ in the way. So I think when I get to that point, I will see, I'll figure out. Like, I'm gonna be more dynamic, I think. Might watch videos and, yeah, watch videos about C++ and read the documentation or read about the libraries. Maybe reading the libraries will be good, I think. The TensorFlow API libraries. So I'm gonna start the timer now. Let's see. Tackling multiple arguments. I think I stopped on functions last time. Tackling multiple arguments. Hang on, we may be thinking, are you limited to one parameter per function? Not at all, you can add as many as you like, but you have to remember their order when you call the function. So here we have 3 parameters. Double price, double tip, both total included. And calling get tip, it's important you call it with price first, tip second, and return total last. So, which is the same in other languages. Define void function name. So I need to define the function here. Void name x times. And I need to remember to put this stuff here. A string name and an integer x. So here they don't put get tip. No, that should be included apparently inside the thing. Integer is int. Yeah, int x. Now I run. And I got a problem. Oh, I forgot the D here. Oh, list passes here. Send the function body. I already did this, but for some reason it didn't send me the link. It's asking me for my email, so it confirms that my account's legit. Yeah, the bad thing is that I wanted to get to the pro version of the site, but then I can't do the off stream, and off stream I already have a lot of stuff to do. So I need to find, because I don't think it's gonna be enough after I finish this course. It's not gonna be enough practice to start on the AI library right away. I wish I had more. Maybe I'll look up on stream more resources so I can practice more and become more comfortable with writing on C++. But maybe I can do something else. I can think about a smaller project to do before I do the library, just so I get. But I'm not sure what to do then. So maybe I'll think about that. Set the function body of name x times, create a while loop. Let me ban this guy. There's a lot of bots asking me if I want to be famous. Motherfuckers. Oh, it's Rolo. I wonder if anyone ever buys for these things. Inside the function body of name x tries, create a while loop that will run as long as x is greater than 0. So while x greater than 0 runs this. Let's see. Inside the while loop, print name to the terminal. Sender. But also maybe my desire to do something else before I start on the AI library might be just imposter syndrome, or trying to avoid doing the most difficult thing, which is building the library. I think I also have just to learn more about reinforcement learning and convolutional neural networks as well. But then I'll probably do that after I have some things on the library already. Set the while loop, print name to the terminal. Below the print statement, decrement or decrease x by 1 so that x is a smaller number on the next loop. So I have to print name. Oh, so name is a variable. I'm not sure if I need to do a new line here. Then x minus minus. I'm not sure if I can do that outside of the condition here as well. Let's see. Okay, passes. Now I'll call the function in main with my name and some number as arguments. Now I have to call here name x times my name. And since they are already declared, I don't need to declare it again, I think. Yeah, because it wouldn't make sense. Don't forget to change my name to your name. But here it's saying that it's already a string. Add your name here. Ah, okay. So I think they want me to add my name here, but doesn't matter. I just got the deja vu. Feeling that I already went through this somehow. Call name x times in main with my name and some numbers as arguments. Which I'm doing. So it's giving me a mistake on the other function, which is the same mistake that I got on the previous exercise. Declaration of the functional arguments. String name. But I don't get it, what I'm doing wrong. Because in the examples, they do it like this as well. Double price, double tip, bool, total included. So I have string name. Oh, maybe I need to put standard. No, because it's a string. Maybe on ints as well. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so I need to put standard and then the operator so that the program knows that int is knows which function is int. But it's interesting that oh yeah, maybe I need to do no here. It's not necessary, so I'm not sure. Yeah, it's still giving me a mistake now. So maybe it's just a string that needs that. Yeah, it's just this string that needs the standard as an argument, as uh standard inside the argument as well. Function definition is not allowed here before token, so I forgot something maybe. Or 6 there, function definition. Where is the token? I don't see it. Or so it's saying that I can't define a function inside of this function. Oh, so I have to define it here. I'm so dumb. I didn't read the comment there. But I wonder if it's impossible. If I remember, I had to declare functions inside of other functions on previous exercises. Expected before token. Oh, here, forgot. Nice. So I think it's only void functions that. Let me try to declare some other function. Int name x. And see what happens. Turn int 5. Turn 5. Here. It doesn't work. Function definition is not allowed here before token. Interesting. So I wonder if it's impossible. Maybe. No, it's not gonna change anything if I change the thing, the name. Not the name, the type. Maybe I should be writing down these questions I have so I look it up after I finish the course. That might be a good idea. Function declaration inside other functions. Understanding string as arguments inside a function. Y standard is required for strings as arguments. But not for other types. And I'm gonna write here what I've learned so far. Functions. Next. I think after this lesson is gonna start the object-oriented stuff. All parameters and arguments work. A function with parameters has a couple of requirements. The function call must include the same number of arguments as there are parameters. The corresponding arguments must be passed in the same order. So the function call, yeah, it needs the same arguments. I also wonder now if I can put pass default arguments. Possible pass default values to arguments. What about xargs and uargs? I think that this part is just for Python. Not sure if C++ has it. I call it a function corresponding arguments. Well, where have I stopped? Here. The corresponding arguments must be passed in the same order. By calling a function with arguments, you're telling a function, when you execute, use these values where you have parameters in your definition. While it executes anywhere the function comes across a parameter, it replaces the parameter with the corresponding argument you gave it. Take a look at how our updated makes sandwich function executes and it gets called with ingredients as arguments. yeah, so it's pretty much gonna pass whatever you declared, whatever you call this variable is gonna pass the arguments. And I think also another question I have is, what if I pass the wrong argument? It's probably not gonna work. So if I declare a string here, I have to pass a string, which is the same, I think, in other languages. Review of C++ functions. We'll check out what you've learned about C++ functions. A function is a named group of statements that do something together. Functions allow you to create more flexible, modular, and dry code. C++ has many built-in functions that you can use. Functions are called like function name. A function has a declaration of a return type and possible parameters. A function has a definition or body with a group of statements and a possible return value. Void functions do not have return values. Functions with a return value have return statements, parameters. Oh, I think I'm gonna write. Oops. What exactly is a void function? And why is it different than the others? Functions with a return value have return statements. Parameters are variables used as placeholders for function input values. Arguments are functions actual input values. You now know enough C++ to create some pretty cool projects on your own, but as you'll see, there are still many ways to improve your code. Try using functions to rewrite or refactor that IT conversation programming showed you. You can also use this space to play around with building your own functions, have fun. So I think this is just practice stuff. And I think overall I'm very happy with my progress so far. And yeah, I think it's important to, from time to time, congratulate yourself for the progress you've made. And yeah. I think reflecting back on this past, I think 10 or 11 months where I started coding, I came a long way, I think. And now I understand things a lot better than I did in the beginning. And yeah, I think at the time that I'm doing this stuff, it feels really, I feel really dumb and confused. But the more I push it through, then it starts to become something normal that I'm used to, and then I become a lot better with time. So I think it's important to remind myself that, because whenever you get your roadblocks, and I'm probably gonna get through a lot of roadblocks still, it's gonna be painful and annoying, and I'm gonna suffer a lot and probably feel dumb, very dumb in the time. But then I gotta keep that vision that the more I do this stuff and the more exposure I have to it, the more likely that the things will eventually clear up in my mind, and then I'm gonna be able to do this stuff naturally. And there's a lot of resistance from my mind, both consciously and subconsciously, to avoid doing the things that I don't know, and to keep pushing and failing a lot and feeling really dumb and stupid, especially on stream, because I know that eventually, if I do something in the future, people might look up to these videos and then they will see how stupid I was in the beginning, which feels kind of strange. Try using functions to rewrite or refactor the IT conversation. So I think this is the same from the previous exercise. And I don't think I'm gonna do a lot of things here. I think the way that it was done was by declaring the function there. Oh, this was the exercise where I declared a function inside of a function. And I think it was supposed to be int. That's how I declared at the time. and then I called the function below. Two times. Let's see if this gives me a mistake there. It's not running. I'm gonna try to do it like this. See what happens. Yeah, now it's giving me the mistake that I can declare a function instead of another function. So I have to think about what I was doing differently in the lesson. In support was not declaring this scope. Suggested alternative isupper. Mm. I think what I will do is try to go back. Maybe I'll do this on the other screen because I want to be careful that I don't show anything that I can't show. So I think was in functions or vectors maybe? No, that should be in functions. Yeah, I'll have to go back manually, I think, because if I don't, yeah, it's gonna go on both of them at the same time. But hopefully it saves everything. Parameters, return booleans. Maybe I'll look that up later. I mean, who cares? It's definitely important, and I'll definitely look it up. But I think it's not worth it just looking at that specific exercise. Just see, I'll look it up later. How it works: roll up your sleeves and get yourself in the mood for functions because it's code challenge time. Say what? Here's how it works. Each exercise in this lesson has a C++ function for you to build. Each challenge has many solutions and we encourage you to be creative. We don't care what goes on in the function as long as it works the way it should. Notice those tests in main for each function. As a refresher, C++ function syntax looks like this. Return type, function name. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The type has to be the same that is returned, I think. Output if there's any parameter. For example, if real code, this might look like. Yeah, so we have to return the same type that the function was declared by. Best of luck. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not returning anything on the function inside of the other function. That's not working. Write a function introduction with no return value that has, so it's going to be a void introduction. Standard string parameter named first name. First name. Standard string parameter name last name. The function should print the last name followed by a comma. So standard bounce. Oh, last name followed by a comma. New line here. Comma, a space. So it's not new line. First name. And another space. And finally last name again. So it's last name, comma, space. First name, another space. Then last name. For example, introduction, James Bond. Reprint the following. Let's run. Okay, passes. Average, write a function average that takes a double parameter named number one, number two. So it's gonna be int average, int or double, or a float. Then double. So maybe it's gonna be a double here, because it's gonna return a double. Forgot this thing. Then the function should return a double that is the average of the return arguments passed in. So it's gonna be double results equals to num1 plus num2 divided by 2. So another question that comes to my mind is it possible to get the length of parameters? I'm not sure if that's very useful most cases, but maybe it's not a very useful thing to look up. Because I was thinking about making it dependent on the amount. Yeah, but it's probably not very useful. So never mind. The function should return results. I forgot the thing here. Hopefully this works. Nice. 10th power, write a function named 10th power that has an int parameter named num. The function should return num raised to the 10th power. So int 10th power. Maybe I'll try to do a double here. Then int num. Then double results equals num divided by 10. Return result. I think that's it. So didn't work. So maybe if I do it like this, it is because of the way that I'm using the types here. 10th power that has an int parameter named num. The function return num raised to the 10th power. Oh, it didn't declare 10. So maybe it should be instant here. Or maybe I should declare 10 first. Let's try that. Expected primary expression before int. Hmm. Yeah, I wonder if if I have to do that with every number I'm gonna use. Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe I think maybe it's another thing that is wrong here. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So I probably don't need to do this every time I'm gonna make a number. Only for variables. Expected unqualified ID before numeric constant. Invalid type of unary have int. So I think the operator is wrong. So how to do exponential C++? So it's a function. If I can only use multiplication, then I have to do the num times num equal to a variable, and this times 5, I think. Yeah, but that's not gonna make. It's gonna make 5 times num square to the power of 2. There's no. How to elevate number plus plus. Good old Stack Overflow. The math, CMath library. More info here. Don't forget to put include CMath. But I want to do. I think they want me to do it without a library. So this might be more tricky than I thought. So maybe I'll research without the library. Yeah, because it would defeat the point of the exercise to do it with a library. So you're already creating the function that does that. So it doesn't make sense to call on another function just to do it. But a function named tenth power that has an int parameter named num, the function should return num based on the tenth power. So I can do a for loop. Yeah, that's probably the best way. And I do e times c to the, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So for int I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and I put stuff here. I'm gonna declare double results outside and erase here, put here. And then I'm gonna make num times num. So it's gonna multiply num by itself. Well, but it has to be actually. Yeah, I wonder if it will work. First time is gonna be num equals num, but then it's gonna reassign each time. So that's not what I want. I want it to store the. So it has to be results times num. And here I'm gonna initialize it to 1 in the beginning. So the first time is whatever num is, and then it's and I'm not sure if I can do it without typing results twice there, but it's gonna accumulate the num into the result variable 10 times. Let's see if this works. It works, but I think maybe is as or equal. The function return num raised to the 10 power. So I think it has to be less than 10 because it starts at 0. So at 10 power 0 is 0. 10 power 1 is 1. 10 power 2 should be 1024. Why is it giving me incorrect here? Maybe they want me to do it in another way. Yeah, it's probably not the most efficient way to do it, but at least it works. So I think I'm gonna look at the answer. You can either do it like this or with the library, I think. Let's see. Oh, they want me to actually type everything. So this is one way, using the library. So but this way, for some reason, it's not passing. Maybe it's because I'm not returning result here. I'm not returning num. Or maybe it's because it has to be a different type. Let's try a different type. Oh, oops. Yeah, now it passes. So it can't be a double to pass. That's the problem. First three multiples. Write a function named first three multiples that has an int parameter named num. The function should return an std vector of the first three multiples of num in an ascending order. So the first three multiples. That has to be times 1, times 2, times 3. So I can create a for loop with the I multiply the argument. But vectors, I don't really remember really well when to do them. So I think this is a good practice. And I assume it's gonna be an int. First three multiples. I'm gonna have int num here. Then I'm gonna do a for loop. Oh, I actually need to declare a vector. So I think it was like this, maybe. And then here was the type of vector. And then the name. First three. And then I think I can assign initial values if I want. So I assume this is going to create a vector with 3 positions. And they initially are going to be 1, 1, and 1. Then I'm going to loop through this vector for vector, or it wasn't length to get the length of the vector. It was something else. For vector, then it was dot something, I think. see if there's vectors here. Yeah, apparently no vectors. I think it's just easier to look it up. What's the so just using functions here? That's not what I want. Dot size, I think. Vector dot size. Well, but no, yeah. First, I need to declare the variable. I think it's gonna be like this. Range I equals 0. Vector size bigger equals than I plus plus. Yeah, now I think it's correct. So initialize I to 0, then it's gonna loop in through from I into vector size, increasing I each time. Then I'm gonna make vector I, which is the index of the value that I want, equals to num times. So maybe I need to initialize it to 1, maybe. So maybe I can do an if statement that says if I different than 0 to push the values. But then it's gonna push to, then I can do I minus 1 here to push to the right place. So it has to be 8, 8, 16, 24. 1, 2, yeah. 1, 2, 3. So I think it's easier to initialize it to 1, maybe. And here I do I minus 1. So it starts at position 0. And here, because it's gonna be 1, it has to be equal to the vector size. 1, 2. Yeah, but this, so here has to be I plus 1. No, vector size plus 1. And here I forgot. No, no. I didn't type here. I. And now I'm not sure if I need to return something. Probably I do. So I have to return a vector. The function should return a standard vector. But if, yeah, so return vector. I can do this, I think, or then do standard vector. Standard count vector. The function should return an std vector for the first. Maybe I'm doing this the wrong way. Because what I can also do is create a vector in the for loop. Or maybe it's right. So Oh, I'm initializing as an int and I'm returning a vector. Hmm. So vector dot size. Vector not declaring the scope. So my initialization of the vector is wrong. So maybe I need to put a different name, or maybe I need to put it inside of these things here. Yeah, for some reason I have trouble remembering how vectors work. So maybe it's the other way. Oh, let's see this. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna look it up. How to initialize, because I don't remember. So there is doing without the standard. And here seems to be the way that I did there. So maybe just the space here. I forgot. No, it doesn't have a space. So let me see if I initialize it. Oh, it's because the vector name is first tree, not vector. That's the issue. Yeah. Not convert standard vector int to int in return. So I need to make the function. So I wonder if I can put vector here. I don't remember. So maybe if I do like this, then it works. So how to initialize function as a vector? Or maybe I can do it the other way. But I'm also gonna look that up, I think. Just not return anything here and just print. Oh, it was returning inside of the loop as well. Standard count vector. Oh, first tree. Doesn't work. No match for operand types are standard on stream. Let me see. So obviously the problem is the format of the thing. I have to return an int if I initialize it as an int, but it's asking me to return a vector. Oh, maybe it's vector here instead, like it says here. That doesn't work. Oh, maybe it's just this first three. Yeah, also doesn't work. Hmm. How to return a vector? Is the vector t function notation. So vector int. Let me see here. Let me try to run like this. Vector does not name a type. Did you mean p error? Oh, doing dots here for some reason. So the input has to be a vector as well. If I declare it as a vector, or maybe not. So he's also declaring, or she is also declaring standard vector before here. Simplest approach to be to use C++, vector int, reverse back. The issue is I don't wanna put vector as a parameter. Maybe if I do like this here, it works. Let's see. Now it's giving me less mistakes. First tree is not a member of std. So now I think I can return this. Yes, let's go. This was a tough one. In your function, you can initialize the vector with each multiple in place, or you could dot push back each multiple onto the vector. Yeah, but they don't talk about this initialization stuff. So vectors and strings you need to initialize with the standard method. Yeah, I think anything that is maybe a boolean, you don't need it as well. I think anything that is not a number, you need to use the standard before in the operator. And booleans, I'm not sure about. Find a function needs water that accepts an int number of days since the previous watering. So a bool value is succulent. A value of true would indicate that the plant is succulent. Inside the function, you need some conditional logic. Return go ahead, so it's going to return a string. So string, let's see if I can initialize it without the standard. I'm gonna return high here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I need the standard thing. That's probably gonna work. It still doesn't work. Oh, it's because I'm not putting the arguments. But I think this is required. So int num bool uh, condition. Yeah, now it's returning. Let's see if I erase this. Yeah, so the standard is needed. And I think it's just because numbers are easier for the computer to understand, and letters you need more libraries to. There's more steps to translate the binary into meaning. And numbers you just use the hex thing, the hex notation for the hex, or there is another word where you're transforming binary numbers into some different base forms. Depending on the position of the numbers, it's gonna be the base elevated by the position of the number. It's gonna be equal to the number, if I remember correctly. And that's how I transform that's how I transform binary into other number systems. And I think the most common one is hex for memory. So gets an int and a condition. So the value of the int has to be days here. And the bool has to be is succulent. Inside the function, you need some conditional logic. If is succulent. So this is gonna check if there is a value, I think. If is succulent is false, so they want me to put, I think just true is enough, but I'm not sure. And days is greater than 3. Return time, true, water, the plant. If it is succulent, so now comes else if. That's why I raised this symbol here, so it doesn't stop there and continues. I think that's the right way to do it. So if is succulent is true and days 12, is 12 or less. Oh, actually, I'm gonna need this. Return don't water the plants. And I'm just gonna copy this and put it here. If succulent is true and days is greater than or equal to 13, return, go ahead and give the plant a little water. Otherwise, so else return. I think this is it. Does need water, return a different standard string. Oh, I forgot to erase this. As if this works. So expected before token. So maybe I need to put the thing here. But for some reason, I thought that I needed to leave, to not put this symbol afterwards because it's a chained conditional statement. So maybe that wasn't the problem. Yeah, so I think this wasn't. Oh, so maybe, well, because I have it here and I have it here. And this one is for this one. Oh, I miss it here. That's why. Maybe that's what's wrong. Yeah, nice. So oh, there's also the switch statement. I don't remember really well how to do the switch. I think it's very similar to the other languages, but I'm not really sure. Maybe they're gonna have a challenge for the switch. Or the next one that needs a condition, I'll try the switch. Final function is palindrome that is gonna return. Should return true if text is, so it's gonna return a boolean. So and here is gonna have a text. The function should return true if text is palindrome. So now I think I'm gonna try the switch thing. Text. So there's the case, which is gonna be what the text is gonna be. How do I check if what is a palindrome? So case if text equals then palindrome, whatever that is. And I would need to assign string here. Then it's gonna return true. I want to do the same thing. False. It's gonna have the default true, turn false. I need to put this stuff here. I'll be right back. Alright, much better. So, where was I? Oh, I need to know what is palindrome. A word, phrase, verse, or sentence that reads the same backwards or forward. So, there's a bunch of ways that I'm thinking already. So the first way that came to my mind is creating a vector, the loop and looping over the vector and verifying that, like reconstructing the vector backwards and seeing if both of them are equal. Well, it's not equal, right? So how can I do this? Oh, it actually is equal. It should be the same forwards and backwards. So the backwards vector is going to be equal to the forwards vector. Word, phrase, verse, or sentence that reads the same backward and forward. Amen. Acano, Panama. But this doesn't read the same backwards than forwards. That's right, or from right to left. Oh, Madam, yeah. Madam does, but Adam doesn't. Well, oh, I got it now. Because it's gonna be Madam, then. Yeah, but this is really hard because I also have to take into account special characters. I wonder if there's something like regex for C++ as well. I don't use regex that much, but it seems like on bigger applications it's very useful to find out stuff. So I think I might skip this one because I don't know. I know how to do it, and I think I already feel comfortable with the code. Maybe I can think about one more way that I could do this in a more efficient way. Oh, it has the explanation here. Didn't read it. Maybe there's a function to see the reverse of a string. Yeah, not just for edge cases such as capitalization or spaces. I think the other thing that they don't mention is how to transform a string into lowercase on C++. It's just too lower, I think. So it would be tax true lower. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe it has to be inside of this transform here. Someone definitely created a function for that, and there's probably a library for that. Yes, probably. So I think another thing that I can study is string manipulation. And the other thing I was gonna search for how to get the reverse of a string C++. I imagine there is another method for that. By using a loop, which is the way that I thought about. Using namespace, standard. But it's also using a loop. So I think this one is I'm not gonna do because it just seems like a waste of time. Because it's just the same concept. And I can study this stuff later, I think, after I finish the course. But maybe I have to do it to move up. Otherwise, they are not gonna pass. If you're not sure where to start for a solution, create an empty string to restore a reverse version of string. So I think I might have to do this. So string reverse text for int I equals 0, text dot length bigger or equal than I plus plus. So I have to think about how to get the index of a string. Iterate backwards over text and add each character to the reversed text. I think it's not necessary to iterate backwards because if I remember correctly, the push back function is gonna add them in the reverse order. So it's gonna add each letter. Well, maybe that's wrong. Yeah, I think it adds each letter to the beginning, so maybe it doesn't need to be the reverse order. So I can do I equals text.length and then make bigger or equal than 0. Check if the reverse text is the same as text. Return true if it is the same, and false if it isn't. So I'm gonna look it up. how to get index of string. I was thinking about creating a vector and then pushing the vector. Pushing to the letters in the vector in reverse order. So you initialize the vector with the length of the string. I also don't know if that's possible. Probably it is, but it might be necessary to create a loop first and then add an empty string to the spots. Well, you need to have the index of the string anyway. The thing is, whenever I feel like something might be a waste of time and not very interested in solving the problem, I can't really pay attention to the things. Just trying to rush it through. So I think it's pretty much just the name of the string and then I. And then I will need to push this to the reverse text. So char access the character at position far from end. Accessing the character at position 0 from the end. So it's just minus here. And then I'll have to push that. Push a letter to an empty string. String dot pushback. So it's the name of the string and then pushback. So maybe it's the other way around. It's text dot reversed text dot pushback. And then I put this stuff side. So this is gonna push to reverse string. Text equals to reverse text. Let's see if this passes. So text length doesn't seem. Let's see if size works. Or maybe I forgot to put the parentheses afterwards. So switch text doesn't work. Switch quantity, not an integer. So maybe I don't need to put anything here. Typo. And the case statements also seem to be incorrect. So maybe reverse text is not working, maybe. Yeah, I need to put a statement here inside. Hmm. I think I wonder if I do count here and then reverse stacks is gonna show me what this is there. Kind of like a print that doesn't show. So I think I also need to search for how to console log things in C++. So first switch statements, C++. Switch expression. Following will apply to a switch statement. The expression used in a switch statement must have an integral or numerator type, or be of a class type in which the class has a single conversion function to an integral or numerator type. There are any number of case statements within a switch. Each case is followed by a value to be compared to and the column. The constant expression for a case must be the same data type as the variable in the switch, and it must be a constant or a literal. Oh, so it has to be the number of cases here, I think. And then case 1, this, case 2. Maybe that's how it works. And then just press tab here. So seems to erase some problems, but expected before token. Oh, so that's why. Let's see. Yeah, now it's giving me this, but the reverse text is not correct. And it's also interesting that it's printing 3 times here. Let me see. How do I make comments? So it has this way. It's just the two slashes. So now it's still giving me 0, 0, 0. Which is weird. I think the switch statement goes through all the cases regardless. Oh, here is not indented properly. And maybe they both have to be in the same line. Yeah. So I wonder why it's giving me 0, 0, 0. Let me erase this again and see. So now it gives me A, M. Let me erase this and see what happens. So it's just pushing one letter for some reason. and then it's still outputting a 0 in the end. So maybe if I erase this, no, it's still 0. Hmm. Let's see if I put -1 here, what happens. Yeah, it's just not pushing. So I think this, yeah, the 0 is outside of the loop. -1 here doesn't work. It has to be on the switch statement, but if it was, yeah. If 0 was equal to false, should be 1, 0, 0. Or should be 1, 1, 0. Oh no, actually, well, I think it's because all of them are false. So it's giving me 0, which is equal to false. It shouldn't be returning the value itself. So maybe I'll need to watch a video for this one about switch statements. Put minus here. It just gives me the first letter, the last letter, I think, or maybe the first. Is it giving me an infinite loop now? I think. Because I'm making it equal to text size. I think I'll have to reload the page now, so it doesn't get stuck. I want to make more coffee as well. So I think this way is probably not gonna work. Or it does, but it's much more complicated. This way at least it outputs something. So I think what I need to do is study Switch statements. Maybe I need to put a break after. Oh, but that doesn't matter because I want to test all of them. So maybe instead of the return, I just do like this. See if this works. Gives me the same response. In a break statement should take control out of the loop. Otherwise, all the cases before a break would be executed. Let's see if I put a break here, what happens. Now it's giving me 128. That's weird. So if I don't put the break, it gives me 0. If I put it, 128. And if I do a new line here, it's gonna put 128 in the bottom of the word. Now it's giving me 000 again. I think I have to watch a video about this. I won't be able to figure out just by reading the things. Or I will, but it will take more time. Case 1, case 2, case 3. Maybe if I just return the expression. No, it doesn't work. I think the reason why I'm confused is because I think on JavaScript that you put the expression on the case instead of putting numbers. But I don't remember really well.
What's up, everyone? Welcome.
I'm gonna be right back. So I guess it's a good thing that I can't go to the next one. 'Cause maybe I'm trying to rush too much. I'm gonna learn more
Welcome
stuff.
to your 21st C++ tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a simple switch statement. Now what a switch statement is pretty much just like an if else statement, but it's a lot easier to organize and a lot easier to work with and read. So let's go ahead and create a basic program that I can show you guys how to use a switch statement. The first thing I want to do is declare an integer variable, typing int x.
The problem is that I want to finish before 2 hours, and I don't think it's gonna be possible. Because I don't wanna make another video or stream about this course.
The next thing I want to do is ask the user a question. So I'm going to ask, how many legs do you have? End that line. And after that, I'm going to have the user input some data on the screen. And whatever they input, it's going to be stored in the variable x. You should learn all this from last time, so I'm not going to go over it again. Next, let's get to the fun stuff, the new stuff, the switch statement. The syntax for your switch statement is switch. And in the test condition, you're going to say what variable you want to test. We want to test the variable x. Now, after we tell C++ what variable we want to test, we got to give it a bunch of different options or cases. The first thing we need to do is make our first case. So the syntax for that is case. Now you give it an option. In the case that they enter 1, enter a colon, we want you to execute this bit of code. Cout, let's say if they enter 1, you are a pirate. Because I can't think of any other thing with one leg right now. So, and then end that line. And then after you're done outputting your code on the screen, you want to add something called a break statement. Actually not true. And this finds one that matches x. It's kind of we want you to end that. How many legs do you have? Let's say 1.
And that's the simple example.
Hey guys, welcome back. So this video we're going to be talking about the switch statement. Now, this is totally random, but the other day I was talking to my friend about how luxury cars have heated seats, and I was thinking, wouldn't it
You
be
can
cool?
obviously do an LCF, but I think I wanna learn more Switch because I think it's different from the other language to C++.
If you could get luxury laptops with heated keys, because I always get like cold fingers, and then
And
my
also I don't have a lot of practice with Switch on the other languages as well.
typing gets terrible. That's just my excuse for not being able to type a sentence without a mistake. But anyways, the switch statement is very similar to the if statement, as I mentioned, and basically we are going to ask, in this little app scenario, we're going to ask the user, this is a Dite app by the way, so we're going to ask the user variable, obviously we're going to have a case for, and before the break statement. And here you can compliment your users for doing a very good job for only eating 1 slice of pizza. Okay, and then the default is, if the slices is greater than 4, I guess technically if the slices was 0, the default would be hit, but in my brain, this switch is only ever going to get hit if the person says that they ate pizza, which assumes that slices is going to be at least greater than 0. So let's go into this default and make a printf saying that you really need to eat less pizza. Enjoy your heart disease. And you can go ahead. I did want to get this from user input though, so I'm just going to do that. If you've seen this before, then you can go ahead and move on to the next video if you want, but just for fun, I'd suggest you do it as well and for some practice. So we're going to have int slices scanf. So yeah, we've done that about a million times. And we need to tell the user what to do. You had an if statement for, what was it? Let me see, this coding.
So maybe you can't use Switch for strings. Oh, here might be a good one.
Hey, Nathan here. Welcome back to another C++ tutorial. And in this tutorial, we are going to extend what we did in the last tutorial and cover strings and switch statements. Now, a switch statement is another conditional statement like we had with the if and else statements, those block of code that we can use to, if something is evaluated true, it will perform this logic, otherwise it will perform that logic. So a switch statement is another conditional type of statement where we can evaluate a variable. In this case, we will use an integer, and then we will switch, and then if that integer equals one value, we will do this. If it equals another value, we will do that. If it equals some other value, it will be this. If it equals a value that we have not tested it with, it'll be something else. Okay, first thing, at the very top where we have include IOStream, we need to add pound include, and this is for the string concepts here, angled bracket string, and then closing angle bracket. So we're going to provide a way to have strings, and we're going to just use the basic strings for this video. Okay, so what we want to do, and I also added a few more of these, kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes, exabytes, zettabytes, yottabytes. I added a few of those. There's more after that, but I didn't bother listening to. Let's not do endline, so just cout x and get rid of the 2 angle brackets, megabytes, or I'm sorry, kilobytes. If it's 2, we want to display megabytes, and so on and so on. All right, so I'm going to set up a string here, and I'm going to name the string a byte type. Okay, colon. So when count is 0, this will happen. I'm going to set byte type is equal to 2 double quotes, and inside the quotes, I'm going to say byte, semicolon, break. Now, that break there is going to end the switch statement, and I'm going to explain what that means here. Case 1. Okay, so case 1, we set the byte type to kilobyte. Let's say count is 1, okay? It's not case 0. Count is not 0. Count is 1. So it sets a byte type to kilobyte until it gets to here. 0, colon, and they have nothing in there. Case 1, colon, and they have nothing in there. Case 2, colon. Perform action, break. So this means perform action will be performed if very. So you will see a lot
I
of.
think that's why it's giving me 128 when I don't want to break. But maybe it wasn't. Each line is a command. Each line is calling the function here. So this should be 0. That should be giving me 0 here. Because I don't have a number here. Oh, because here is always going to be case 2. Which means text is different than reversed. Let me try to return text here and see what happens. So I can't return text. Because it has to be a number, maybe? Cannot convert standard string, aka basic string char, to bool in return. That should be a boolean because the function is boolean. Let's return true. Now it's giving me a 1. So 1 is true, and so maybe they want me to return a string here. But it's still returning 1. Well, yeah, because the function is a boolean. But now it's interesting that it's not giving me a mistake. Yeah, because I think the string is a true value. So just returns 1. So maybe the function has to be a string. Should have a return type of bool. So it shouldn't be a string. Now let's see if it's probably gonna give me an error here. If you're not sure where to start with your solution, create an empty. Turn true if text is a palindrome, and false if it is not. So I don't think I can use this switch here. Because it defeats the point if I have to do an if to check if they are equal or not. And then make another variable that is a number. It changes because it would be easier to just do an if else statement. But there must be a way to use switch to check for conditions on strings. And I'm not sure if returning 0 or 1 is also gonna pass. So maybe I just give up and do the if else.
Examples where people use switch statements like this.
I think I'm gonna spend a little more time trying to understand switch. And then if I find that is either not possible or too difficult, then I'm gonna do it with if else. And then I have to check what's wrong with the reverse string thing.
because they want 0, 1, and 2 to perform the same action, they don't have to, 0 through 8, it's higher than 8, or it is negative, which it should not be negative. But in terms of discussion, default will always be, what we want the default value to be. So I can say byte type is equal to unknown type. And then break. Okay. Now, we have a switch statement here, and it gets us the appropriate byte type. Now we want to see out that as well, and see out byte type. And this time we want to end L. Alright, so that should be it. Now if we debug this, start debugging, and we can see the result. So whatever we had in here, the double value, 103456, it is 1010.33 kilobytes. As you can see, 33 KB is right up against each other. So what we can do here is see out, right after the switch statement where we have see out. Right after see out, we can add another double angle brackets, and then we can put a double quote, space, double quote. And what that will do is it'll add space and then a byte type. 24 bytes because it is 1 kilobyte. Megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte. I will just add a few more zeros. Let's every single one of them in here. Point whatever it do, and what I had to do is that instead of a standard integer.
Yeah, it's not going. Maybe I can do it by length. Oh, but length is not gonna give me if they're equal or not in reverse.
Hello and welcome back to my videos. In this video I'll show how you can create a C++ app where you use strings as a to switch. So when you make the option invalid, I'll have my option if input is equal to option 1, choose option 1, and I will about it. So the first input variable should be
But this seems to be more advanced stuff. I think I'm gonna do with if else. But it's good to know that switch only works with integers for the cases and the parameter. So if x is equal to reversed x, and I think here I also thought about I make reverse text minus I. It's gonna be equals to text I. But I'm not it's probably not gonna work. Before token. Oh, here. Before equals token. Expected primary expression before equal token. So am I missing something here? Maybe if I just put this. So now it doesn't output anything, which means this doesn't work. Let's see if this works. And now at least it's outputting something. Try this. Doesn't work. But it's putting 1 through all of them, which is obviously not the case. Now it's placing 0. So I think I'm gonna have to look it up.
The algorithm for reversing a string
Yeah, the way I think about doing is with the vectors, but I wonder if there's a method for strings
looks like this.
to do it
First,
directly with the string without creating a vector and initializing and then pushing the values.
we take the O and add it to SNew, then we add L to SNew. And remember that we can add strings. World. Now let's reverse hello so that SNew will contain its reverse. Let's take note that the letter H is at index 0 and that the letter O is at index 4, which is string S's size -1. Now let's start running the main program. Because we want, so we initialize string S's size. To add each letter from string S to SNew, we'll use this piece of code. This code takes a letter in string S and adds it to SNew. If we didn't have a loop and only executed this piece of code once, we would be taking the last letter in string S and adding it to the empty string SNew. SNew will now contain S instead of an empty string. Alternatively, you can use the commented code, which is equivalent to the code above.
So it's just equals then I. Doesn't work. Or maybe plus equals. Now it's outputting 1 to all of them, which is not true. Because the last one should be false. Oh, it should be right. So it is correct. Because both text and reverse text are equal. The Lovelace is not the same backwards. So
But allows you to see and understand the addition and assignment operations more clearly. Because we want to start accessing the letters in string S from end to beginning, we'll decrement int I each time we execute the code in the for loop. Now let's think of how we'll exit the for loop. We want to exit the loop after H has been added to SNew. So we want to keep executing this code until H has been added. Remember that we're using SI to access the letters in S. Therefore, we start at S4, then S3.
yeah, so he's doing the previous way that I thought about. You initialize the I to the size,
Then S2, etc. until we reach S0.
go backwards.
However, there will be a point where I decrements past 0 and I becomes -1. But there is nothing in the -1 position of strings. It holds an unknown value. Trying to access unknown variables or locations can cause unexpected errors or results. This is the point where we want to exit the loop. So we want to keep executing SNew plus equals SI while I is greater than or equal to 0. Now let's run the program and see what SNew contains. SNew now contains the reverse of string S.
So int -1. Maybe I don't need the condition there. I is greater or equal than 0. Now it's giving me false on all of them. But at least he's reversing correctly, I think. Why is saying that is not true? If I do a null if here instead, it shouldn't change anything, but it's worth trying. At least. Still 0.
You can also use this code to see how SNU changes each time you add a letter.
So I'm trying to think about what is wrong here. I don't see what's wrong, but it's not it's outputting the wrong value there. Should be 1 for this shoe and 0 for this one. Maybe if I put string here, but it doesn't make much sense because the variables are already declared there. And I probably need to put standard here, but that's like this. It should be what is connected here. So yeah, that's probably not the way to do it. So maybe that's what I need to search. The time's up here. Oh. Check if two strings are equal, can use equal to comparison operator or compare function. Comparison operator using so I don't see what I'm doing wrong here. Seems like they're both equal. Maybe if I erase this, it's gonna give me the right thing. Or if I just do counts here. 0, 128. Hmm. I think I might go to do some coffee. Because I can't figure this out. It'll probably take me more time to figure it out. I'm gonna finish this course today. Because I don't think there's a lot of stuff. Not enough stuff to be split it in 2 different days. Thing is, I don't see anything wrong with this. Should be working. Maybe if I erase this block here. And I just put it like this. Because they're both strings, and then in the both first cases it's true. So it should be 1, 1, 0. And the output is also not correct. Create an empty string to store a reverse version. And they don't offer the solution as well. There's a problem. Oh, here, here's a solution. Damn, I really don't. For some reason, I don't see these obvious things. So maybe I should just see the solution and move on. The thing is that I can't see why it's wrong. It seems like everything that I did is exactly the way the other guy did it and the way that they are telling me to do. So maybe I'm missing something really obvious that just not pay attention to. Maybe I should do void instead of boolean function. Hmm. And then I can't return, so I can just do counts. Uh, So it also doesn't work. So it has to be a boolean value. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make coffee. Let me see what time it is. Almost midday. Let me see how long it will take to finish this course. What percentage I'm at. %66. So it's still 1/3 left of the course. Hmm. I think I'll see the solution for this one and then I'll do the rest another time. Then I can make coffee and do the other stuff that I have to do. Oh, it's just the way that I wrote the thing. The variable. But that's weird. It should be... And I also have to initialize it as an empty string, which I didn't. But I wonder how it knows. Maybe if I do it like this, it will work also. And if I initialize it to 0, it doesn't work again. No, it's still not working now. So it has to be the other way around, the condition as well. And here apparently is wrong also. The text size -1, which I didn't do. So this goes the reverse way. -1. Nice. Finally. Yeah, this was a lot tougher than I thought it would be. Size. It's interesting that there's a difference between comparing with reverse text first and then. Let me try to see if I change now, what's gonna happen. If it's still gonna pass or not. 'Cause maybe the problem was the other stuff, not this. Oops. Yeah, it still passes. So the problem was the other stuff. I didn't do -1 here and I didn't initialize to. Let me see if I do this, it's gonna work. So yeah, problem was just -1 here. And the rest was correct. So I think I'll pause the stream now and then I'll make some coffee and I might just come back later and finish this, or I might leave it to do it another time. So see ya.